You're standing in a store holding something you didn't come for. You don't need it. You know you don't need it. But there's this feeling, this quiet insistence, and 30 seconds later, it's in your cart. This isn't weakness, it's design. Because while you think you're making a choice, there's a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure built specifically to make sure you don't. Let's start with a number, $12.2 trillion. That's how much Americans spent on retail purchases in 2023. Not all of it was unnecessary, obviously, but here's the part that matters. Researchers estimate that anywhere from 40 to 80% of purchases are made impulsively, meaning the decision wasn't planned, it wasn't rational, it just happened. And it happened because your brain has a vulnerability, a back door, and entire industries have the blueprint. The mechanism starts with something called the dopamine reward loop. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter associated with anticipation and reward, not happiness, anticipation. It spikes when you're about to get something, not when you actually have it. This is important. Your brain evolved this system for survival, spotting food, finding shelter, avoiding danger. Dopamine helped you focus, pursue, act fast. It was an advantage, but evolution didn't prepare you for the modern marketplace, because now that same system fires when you see a product with a red sale sticker, or a limited time offer, or a countdown timer on a website. The anticipation of getting a deal triggers dopamine, and once it spikes, rationality doesn't stand a chance. Here's where it gets deliberate. Retailers know the exact moment your brain is most vulnerable. It's called the moment of emotional peak, and they engineer it. Walk into any major store. Notice the lighting. Notice the music. It's not random. Research shows that slower tempo music makes people move slower, spend more time browsing, and buy more per visit. Lighting is calibrated to make products look appealing, but not so bright that it feels clinical. Temperature matters too. Stores are kept slightly cooler than comfortable. Why? Because when you're mildly uncomfortable, you move faster and make quicker decisions, less time to second guess. But the real weapon is layout. You ever notice how milk and eggs are always at the back of a grocery store? That's intentional. They're essentials. You need them, so they put them as far from the entrance as possible, forcing you to walk past hundreds of other products you don't need. Every aisle is a new opportunity for impulse, and the end caps, those displays at the end of aisles, have a 30% higher conversion rate than items on regular shelves. Same product, different location, different outcome. Now let's talk about scarcity. Humans are wired to fear loss more than they value gain. It's called loss aversion, and it's one of the most reliable cognitive biases retailers exploit. Only 3 left in stock. Sale ends tonight. Limited edition. None of these phrases tell you why you need the product. They tell you what you'll lose if you don't act. And your brain treats that potential loss like a threat. A study from Stanford found that when people were told an item was running low, they rated it as more desirable even when the product itself hadn't changed. Scarcity doesn't make things better, it just makes your brain panic. And online retailers have perfected this. Ever been shopping on a website and seen a little notification that says 12 people are viewing this item right now? That's artificial urgency. Sometimes it's real, often it's not. Either way, it works, because now you're not just deciding if you want the product, you're competing for it. Then there's the pricing illusion. You see something marked down from $100 to $60. Feels like a good deal, right? You're saving $40. Except you're not saving anything, you're spending $60. But your brain doesn't process it that way. It anchors to the original price, the higher number, and perceives the current price as a win. Retailers know this, so they inflate the original price to make the discount look bigger. This is why you'll see a shirt marked was $120, now $49.99. Was it ever really $120? Maybe for a week, maybe never. Doesn't matter. The anchor is set. And that's before we even get to charm pricing. Prices ending in 0.99 instead of whole numbers. It's such a cliche that you'd think it stopped working. It hasn't. Studies show that prices ending in 0.99 still outperform rounded prices by up to 24% in sales. Your brain sees $19.99 and rounds down to $19, even though it's 1 cent away from 20. That 1 cent shifts perception. It's absurd, but it's effective. Let's go digital, because if physical retail is designed to manipulate, Online shopping is manipulation at scale. Every click you make is tracked. Every pause, every scroll, every abandoned cart. Algorithms learn your patterns, what you look at, how long you hesitate, what makes you convert. And then they use it against you. Dynamic pricing is the obvious example. Airlines have done this for years. The price of a flight changes based on demand, time of day, even how many times you've searched for it. But now it's everywhere. Amazon changes prices on over 2.5 million items every single day. Not because costs changed, because the algorithm determined you'll pay it. You look at a product on Monday, it's $35. You wait, check again Thursday, now it's $42. Was there a supply issue, a surge in demand, or did the algorithm just decide you're interested enough to pay more? You'll never know. Then there's the social proof feedback loop. Over 10,000 five-star reviews, bestseller in this category. Customers who bought this also bought. These aren't just helpful suggestions, they're behavioral nudges designed to reduce friction and accelerate decision-making. When you see that other people bought something, your brain interprets it as validation. If thousands of people made this choice, it must be the right one, so you stop questioning it. But here's the uncomfortable part. A significant percentage of online reviews are fake. Estimates range from 10% to as high as 30% on some platforms. Paid reviews, incentivized reviews, bot-generated reviews. You think you're relying on the wisdom of the crowd. Sometimes you're just reading marketing copy disguised as consensus. And we haven't even touched the buy now, pay later trap. Afterpay, Klarna, Affirm, these services let you split a purchase into 4 interest-free payments. Sounds reasonable, feels harmless, but it's designed to do one thing: remove the pain of paying. Normally, when you hand over money, there's a psychological sting. Your brain registers loss. It's a natural break. But when you're only paying $25 today instead of $100, that break weakens. A study by the Federal Reserve found that people spend 12 to 18% more when they're not paying the full amount up front. It doesn't matter that you'll still pay the full $100 eventually. The pain is delayed. The dopamine is immediate. And because these services don't report to credit bureaus the way credit cards do, people rack up multiple payment plans without realizing how much they've committed to. By the time the payments start piling up, the regret is retroactive. So let's zoom out. This isn't about blaming individuals for lack of willpower. It's about recognizing that you're operating in an environment specifically constructed to override your willpower. Every color, every word, every layout choice, every notification has been A/B tested on millions of people to find the exact formula that makes you act without thinking. You're not weak, you're outmatched. The average American now carries over $6,000 in credit card debt. A third of Americans admit they've bought something they couldn't afford because it was on sale. And the average household has over $1,000 worth of unused items just sitting there. This is the cost of frictionless commerce, of infinite choice, of systems designed not to meet your needs, but to create them. Here's the irony. We have more access to information than any generation in history. We can compare prices in seconds, read reviews, research alternatives, and yet we're buying more impulsively than ever. Because information doesn't protect you from a system designed to exploit the way your brain works. Knowledge helps, awareness helps, but neither one rewires the dopamine loop. So what's the answer? Honestly, there isn't a clean one. You can build friction back into your process, wait 24 hours before buying anything non-essential, unsubscribe from marketing emails, delete shopping apps from your phone, use cash instead of cards to make the pain of payment real again. All of that helps, but it doesn't change the fact that the system isn't neutral. It's not a fair fight between your rational brain and a product on a shelf. It's your Stone Age neurology versus a trillion-dollar machine learning algorithm that knows exactly which buttons to push. And maybe the bigger question isn't how to stop buying things you don't need. Maybe it's why we've built an entire economy around making sure you never feel like you have enough.